that construction activities will begin within the next weeks. That statement has more hedges than a Beverly Hills mansion, more hedges than a nervous groom's wedding vows written by a divorce lawyer. But it's funny how progress starts moving once somebody turns on a microphone. 4 weeks of KBLA editorials and suddenly everyone has found their hard hats. It's amazing what happens when the community starts asking questions out loud, and this is why black media matters. We don't need more empty promises. We need a finished project. Political accountability to black fellow citizens means that elected officials and institutions must answer for their actions or inaction in ways that are real, measurable, and consequential when they fail to follow through. I suppose the good news here is that LA City Council President and 8th District Representative Marquise Harris Dawson is now officially on the record. But to be clear, he's also on the clock. Remember now, it is anticipated that construction activities will begin within the next weeks. We shall see. We have exercised our right to free speech, but there are other rights the black business community can exercise as well. This is a classic example of a public nuisance claim if ever there was one. Again, we shall see. What I can tell you is that black business owners and Crenshaw community residents have been calling, emailing, and literally showing up in our lobby demanding more and asking how they can sign on to this effort. Put simply, after years of delay, the people have had enough. My big mama put it this way: once a task you have first begun, never finish until it is done. Be the labor great or small, do it well or not at all. And finally, while the citizens in Crenshaw appeal to Mr. Harris Dawson to fulfill the city's obligations to us, the LA City Council debates whether non-citizens can vote in local elections. I declare, here again, that's not leadership, that's misplaced priorities. Now, I need to put on my hard hat, go outside, and wait for these procrastination Crenshaw construction crews to show up. I'll let you know if and when they do. Trust and believe. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. As always, we welcome your feedback.
Alchemist, you know me, man. I'm the type of getting that right rhymes right on the spot in the studio as soon as I hear the track. You know what I'm saying? Word, but I wanted to bring a couple of books to the studio today, man. I found these up in the crib, man, in boxes, man. I don't even remember when I was writing these or what's in these, man. Probably a bunch of bull. You know, okay. Check. How can I trust you when I can't trust me? Picture myself an old man, a OG. Subject will conversate with liars all day. Time pass. Nah, let me start something else. Soul on ice, death threats given by clowns, I guess. Live in this prison when you live around clowns. I'm hexed, cursed, worst, I've been blessed. First I thought I was abnormal, cause I would overcome any task cordial. So there it is, I'm a prince, I'm against lames who do minor. Swear they on the top of their game. Your rhyming is called vagina monologue. It kinda supports theories of scary shit, and you should lie in them all. Really, I come in contact with the real. Since Pun Passy was the last shining sun I could feel. Yo, so there's a few left, since music's expressions of life. Damn, I wish I took more time to write in my book of rhymes. Oh, Tina, been looking for this number. Damn.
KBLA Talk 1580. Little Nas, because we are talking about the Book of Rhymes in a broader sense. Who gets to tell our stories and who gets to distribute our stories, and then who gets to interpret our stories, the algorithms, what is delivered to us and what is not. That's kind of in the conversation today. And we have some great folks joining us to give us that information. We are being joined in studio this morning by the Chief Operating Officer of the Community Coalition. She's an Angelino, a UCLA grad. Gerri Lawrence, welcome.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice meeting you too. Thanks for coming in. I feel like I should know you because I've been, off and on part of Community Coalition for so many years, but welcome and thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Yeah, and bear with us because you will understand exactly why we are talking about, the narrative, who gets to tell our stories. Our other guest is joining us by phone. She's a producer, a writer, director, an actor, and an activist. She is, she's been on this show before, and she's collaborating at this moment with a community coalition on her latest project. We'll hear more about that. Gina Belafonte, welcome.
Thank you so much, Dominique. Pleasure to be here, and good morning, Gerri.
Hi, Gina.
Yeah, you work, Gina, in spaces in Hollywood and also way outside of Hollywood in activist circles, right? With Sankofa.org and all kinds of things, different kinds of protest organizations, radical, centrist. I mean, I've seen you, in action in a lot of different settings. Why, what have you seen, I guess I'll say, in Hollywood and even in sort of more mainstream organizations that makes you say, this is so important. This idea of who gets to tell our stories and how they're told is so central.
Well, thank you for the question. I come from a community of activists. I was reared by activists. My parents and the aunties and the uncles and all the folks and the cousins around the table were always plotting and figuring out and trying to do their best to find ways in which to elevate the voices of those who were trying to get larger systems to understand their plight, their issues, their needs. And, having a father as Harry Belafonte and a mother as Julie Belafonte, coming from that artist activist background as well, they use their platforms to elevate those voices. And so I come from that tradition. I come from a tradition of storytellers and of people that used as many platforms as possible to share with those that had, stuff to say and to talk about, and were also a deep reality of the American experience. And I find myself in that same position today, ongoing work with different organizations that not only are cultural organizations, but also grassroots organizations and communities. And pairing us together gives us an opportunity to bring forth to our communities and to our constituencies and to our fans and all the rest, a narrative that is not often heard in mainstream media that people need to hear, that people need to remind themselves of community and who is really on the ground doing the work, being of service in the greater sense to our communities.
Yeah. I feel like, we talk about, he who controls the narrative controls blah, 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 and we always kind of hear it. I hear it as this platitude about controlling the narrative or changing the narrative. But then when you look at, say, for example, the Academy Awards this year, right? And which one battle after another, where people who are clearly not activists are trying to tell the story of radical activism. And then you have, and that wins. Meanwhile, Sinners, who's black people telling black stories through a horror narrative lens, doesn't win. He's telling our story in a creative way, and he's telling the story of his ancestors. To me, that is a sort of more concrete example of what it is. It doesn't sound like a platitude. It sounds like, and I said it after the Academy Awards, and I'm going to keep saying it, there is no world, Tiana Taylor to the side, there's no world in which one battle after another is a better written story than Sinners. There is no world. Sorry.
Agreed.
Cancel me. I don't care. The fact of the matter is, even if you take race out of it, which I hate when people say that because this is America and you can't, but the fact of the matter is, even if you do, you've got people who are not radical activists doing caricatures of radical activists, and it's highly problematic. And that to me is an illustration of what happens when it ain't your story, but you telling it.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to pivot here, and this may seem weird, but, when we talk about Community Coalition, it's not an artistic organization on its face. It's a community organizing, activist, leadership sort of incubation type of organization. But yet, one thing I know from being on the board of COCO, Gerri Lawrence, many years ago, is that Community Coalition is very intentional about the education piece, so that the activists that come out of there know the story of South LA, know the story of radical organizing, know the stories of how we got to where we are as people, as communities, and as political organizations. So talk to me about that part of COCO's mission.
All right. I'd like to connect it a little bit to my personal story. So
even better.
I'm the chief operating officer, so a lot of my work is internal, but I have an arts background, and I studied at UCLA. And during that time, I really, really struggled as an artist, and as a young person who had just grew up in a context where I just experienced life that did not resonate with what I was experiencing on the UCLA campus. And there was a term that would be thrown around called high art. And I was also high art.
Yeah, I'm familiar.
Yeah, and I was also racially isolated, extremely so, as a Black art student at the school. And during that time, I decided when I graduate, I will not be a practicing artist.
Really?
This is not for me. I don't see how this connects to my community, to my experience. And so I got into the nonprofit sector, worked at a school for a number of years, and came to Community Coalition in 2011. And during that time, we had Alberto Retano, who's our current president and CEO, transition from being at the Obama administration for a couple of years. And one of the things he said is, like, I really want to build out our civic engagement efforts and really think about how we leverage art as strategy to really tell the story and engage larger groups of people and people who may not be attracted to the protests or other traditional ways that people think of practicing activism. And so working with him and other members of my team, folks knew that I had an art background and had tapped me to help do some things like a Power Fest, which is a multidisciplinary festival in South LA. We started experimenting with art walks, and it was all about art for art's sake to a great extent. Like, we deserve these things, we deserve the beauty. And while there's so much culture coming out of South LA, things are not built around our enjoyment. And so we're doing that, but also it was about education and sparking people's activism, creating platforms for them to be on-ramped into different efforts and strategies, and them just knowing that these things exist. So I would say that We the People, the project we're currently working on, is just an iteration of that, evolving over time and really seeing arts as a central strategy to organizing, to activism. Like, throughout history, that's been the case.
Yeah, we'll get deeper into that. Just really wanting to look at this question of how the storyteller impacts the perspective of the story. I believe we can be fair, but we are not objective. We can only see the world through our own eyes. And, you know, as Gina was stating, you know, her mom, Julie Belafonte, and her dad, Harry Belafonte, were solidly placed in the space of using our art for liberation.
Yeah.
My dad, you know, Mary Baraka, the founder of the Black Arts Movement, I also was raised with that perspective. That's what art is for. And I know that, you know, the fine art world and this idea of art for art's sakes is often put as the antithesis of that. So I like the way you placed it, you know, in terms of art for art's sakes means we deserve art in our communities. It doesn't mean that art is without connection or without a message or a mission in our community. We will continue this conversation. If you got an opinion, to the good, to the bad, to the opposite, to the same, it's all invited. 800-920-1580. That's the number, 800-920-1580, or drop your comment in the live stream, where we are on youtube.com, KBLA 1580. We'll keep it moving when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Thanks for starting your morning off with a voice that speaks truth to power and the powerless, getting to the heart of what matters most in our community. This is where authentic conversation meets real action. From breaking news and politics to culture and community solutions, This is where you hear perspectives you won't hear anywhere else. This is where we come together, get informed, and make change happen. You're inside First Things First with Dominique DePrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Good morning, sunshine. You make my day. Wishing happy birthday to KBLA. 5 years old, yeah, with more that's coming your way. Congratulations. Come on, y'all, let's celebrate. Happy, happy birthday to KBLA. Look, 5 years deep and we're still going up. Built it from the ground, now the real knowing us. Real talk on the air, then the truth get heard. Every day the proof getting served. He had a vision and he stayed with the plan. Now they tapped in from the beach to the land. Never back down, 7 days of the week, still going up now. We 5 years deep. Wishing happy birthday to KBLA. Tell me smiling, you did it with 5 years today. Congratulations, come on y'all, let's celebrate. Happy, happy birthday to KBLA. KBLA. Happy birthday.
Do you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS like Mark?
I've been doing home remodeling for 30 plus years, but the economy crashed. I wound up losing my home, losing my job, and on top of that, owing the IRS a ton of money. I owed the IRS $114,000. It really, truly was the worst part of my life.
Then Mark found tax relief advocates.
On news radio, I heard about TRA, and I thought, what's the worst that could happen? So I picked up the phone and I called them. When it was all said and done, TRA settled my $114,000 debt for $100, and I'm telling you, I was ecstatic. Could not believe it. Would recommend TRA to anyone.
If you owe 10 or even hundreds of thousands of dollars to the IRS, don't lose hope. Do what Mark did and call TRA for a consultation.
But TRA did. They gave me a second chance, and I'm forever grateful.
Visit TRA.com or call 800-575-8935. 800-575-8935. That's 800-575-8935.
This November, you'll decide who leads California. So shouldn't you hear directly from the people asking for your vote? Join us for California Voices, a political town hall and ballot forum, Saturday, October 3rd, 2026. Meet candidates running for governor, lieutenant governor, attorney general, and other major statewide and local offices, including mayor of Los Angeles, city attorney, and LA County sheriff. Get clear, nonpartisan breakdowns of the propositions on your November ballot, both sides, no spin. And ask your questions directly, in real conversation, face to face. California Voices is brought to you by KBLA Talk 1580 and the Empowerment Congress, giving you the information you need before you vote. Mark your calendar, Saturday, October 3rd, 2026, California Voices. Follow KBLA 1580 for details and download the KBLA 1580 app. Your vote, your voice. Be there.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DePrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
And delighted to say you are not just waking up with me this morning. You're waking up with Gerri Lawrence, who's the Chief Operating Officer of the nonprofit organization Community Coalition, and producer Artivist. Do you call yourself an Artivist? Artivist writer-director Gina Belafonte, also on the phone. Do you even call yourself that? I don't know. You know, those are those terms.
I do.
You do? Okay. Whew. Good thing. Because, you know, some people have issues with some of these newer terms. But since Gerri went there, you know, we're talking about controlling the narrative. Who tells the story, shapes the story. And that's kind of at the heart of this collaboration between the Community Coalition and Sankofa.org, a.k.a. you, Gina. So talk about, you know, explain what this is and what we can learn from it about how we tell our stories. This is, I call every Tuesday Talking Point Tuesday around here, because I want us to become aware of the things we say that don't serve us. Do we even know where that came from? Do we know why we're saying that, what it means, who it's serving? And so that's partly about narrative too. So talk to me about we the people.
Well, It's a really exciting opportunity, as maybe some of your listeners may know from me coming on before. Sankofa.org is an organization that sits at the intersection of art and activism. And Coco approached us to participate in this pop-up art installation. And anchored in the lived realities and leadership of everyday people in South Los Angeles, grassroots organizing, and a deep commitment to narrative power and artistic activism, we've come together to center the voices, the stories, the creative expression of Black, Indigenous, Brown, immigrant, LGBTQ plus, femme, and historically marginalized communities in this amazing 20,000 square foot space in South LA that we've taken over. And we are come forward because these stories are not just footnotes, but we have to uplift these stories as authors of this nation's ongoing story. We know that the dominant narrative rooted in this country currently is sort of a quote-unquote American exceptionalism. But we need to, stand with our people in our communities and really ensure that the stories that they're coming forward with are also stories where we see ourselves. I mean, they've flattened history. They've softened its truth. They've obscured the labor and resistance and brilliance of those who built this country. And we're putting up this opportunity to not only highlight the work and the struggle of our ancestors and those who have come before us, but also center South LA as a voice in this story. And so we have a beautiful exhibit with multiple artists. It's sort of a cultural intervention that invites thousands of people to come to the retelling of America in a way that we reach back and we reclaim in that Sankofa way what we have buried, what we've left behind, and we're moving forward and uplifting South LA as both a geographic and symbolic site of truth-telling.
I mean, I'm thinking wouldn't be too hard to get more people out to this than are attending America's State Fair.
Yeah.
We only need a few dozen to beat that number. Anyway, I digress. It sounds ginormous. It sounds huge. And I keep saying on this show, Gerri, that I feel like it's time for a second Black arts movement. It's time for a recommitment to using our art for liberation and healing and encouragement and, just sort of the antidote to everything we're being attempted to be crushed by every single day. So what's the feeling? I mean, I know it's opening day is not here yet, but I'm sure you've walked through there and had a little sneak peek. What does it feel like? I'm imagining this gigantic space full of stories and narratives.
I would agree with that. I haven't just dropped in. I've been living there.
You camped out.
And I've seen it transform from an empty warehouse. It used to be a former site of manufacturing furniture, LADC on 59th and Western, and had been abandoned for a couple years. So we came in originally planning to occupy 10,000 square feet. And Gina, what's awesome about her, she just pushes us to think bigger. And so she was like, let's get the other 10,000 square feet. And so we did that. So we're looking at, we had more space to fill. But what I would say in terms of, I think about the contrast to places like the Broad and the Getty and the white walls. And, here is, the precious art, for you to look at, and this is how the art is defined. And what I would say feels different about the space is that everything's considered from the time that you get out of your car and you're walking down, we're calling the People's Alley, and when you walk, before you go into the building, there is a sign that says you belong here. So just a lot of intentionality. And then around the visual arts, so many different artists represented different mediums. But to what Gina was speaking to is that it's not a static space. It's not a space where you're just consuming art. It's a place for you to also create art, and it's dynamic because there are panel discussions. There will be performances. There will be, we'll do live podcasts there, and we'll invite other things that we didn't plan for to happen in the space. So it's meant to be, like when you talk about who gets to tell the story, I'm like, we get to tell the story. Like, I know my story. I don't know everyone else's story. So I think what's beautiful is that it is bringing in a lot of diverse perspectives, and that we're really relying on the community to build with us and for this to be living and breathing, not just a static visual arts opportunity.
I mean, and one of the things I'm pointing to is just the fact that I talk to people from nonprofits, from schools, moms and dads of mostly black children, but others too, and the level of discouragement, the feeling of oppression because of oppressive things that are actually happening, not our imagination. You don't even have to have an internal struggle. The external struggle is real. That I feel like this is kind of, these are the things we need to fortify our souls and, strengthen our resolve.
I'd like to add, in the experience, you'll walk through a gallery that represents the past. Then you'll come into a gallery that represents the present. And then you'll continue into a gallery that represents the future. And we are excited to have created this opportunity for the community to come. And in some ways, it's almost a jumping off point. It's an inspiration. It's to get the wheels turning. What do you feel that you can contribute to this story? What do you feel you want to redefine in the way in which you imagine America? And we have everything from African fabric representing some of our past. We have beautiful paintings and interactive experiences that offer you what's happening in the present. And then we have a really beautiful, colorful, joyful invitation to how we want and hope to represent the future, and to remember our past in the future, but to also bring the joy and the celebration of who we are.
And hold that thought, Gina Belafonte. We've got a hard stop for news, traffic, and sports at the bottom of the hour. But we got a lot to talk about, and you're welcome in. KBLA Talk 1580. You belong here.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DePrima when we come forward.
I'm Misty Jordan with BIN News Now. As wildfires continue to burn across Colorado, the American Red Cross is stepping in to help residents who may need to evacuate at a moment's notice. Red Cross spokesperson John Seward urges people to have a plan.
Anything you need to be away from your home for 3 to 5 days. That's clothes, that's food, that's the computer, that's the phone charger.
Seward also says people should remember the P's: people, pets, prescriptions, and papers. Hotel occupancy numbers during the World Cup are a little disappointing in Atlanta. The president of the Atlanta Convention and Visitor Bureau says hotels are averaging an occupancy rate at or below 60%. And a stricter youth curfew policy is now in place in Columbus, Ohio. The city is not planning to issue curfew citations until next year. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
It's the Big O Tires Flash Sale. Buy 3 select tires, get 1 free with paid installation. Or get 50% off a full synthetic oil change. And 20% off any repair service. The Big O Tires Flash Sale through July 5th at your local Big O.
Is this the time? This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
A lot of chatter is circulating around the NBA today, and 2 of the names getting the most mentions are LeBron and Kawhi Leonard. Multiple NBA sources claim the Golden State Warriors are planning to make a free agent offer to LeBron. LeBron officially becomes an unrestricted free agent on Wednesday. Sources also have knowledge of Golden State working on a trade to acquire Anthony Davis from the Washington Wizards. A side note to these 2 developments: Golden State's Draymond Green declined a $27.6 million player option with the Warriors for next season, which means he could be willing to sign for less money to make salary cap room for LeBron and Davis. Green, LeBron, and Davis are represented by the same agent, Rich Paul of Clutch Sports. As for Kawhi, sources claim the Clippers are considering trading Kawhi to the Toronto Raptors. Stay tuned for the latest on all of this. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Going to a World Cup match in LA this summer? Ditch the parking stress and ride Metro. With direct service from across LA County, it's the easy way to get there for just $1.75 each way.
Lots of places can expose you to identity theft.
Oh no.
That's why LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points a second for threats to your identity, which is way more than anyone can do on their own. If we find anything suspicious, like new loans or changes to your financial accounts, we alert you right away, all through text, phone, email, or the LifeLock app. Get the alerts that could make all the difference. Save up to 30% with promo code NEWS at lifelock.com. Terms apply.
Why'd I go to the doctor? Working on the farm, my heart kept skipping a beat. I didn't think much of it, but my daughters made me get checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Follow the leader. KBLA Talk 1580. Follow the leader.
If you're not following KBLA Talk 1580 on all of our socials, then you're missing out. Download our app and find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and on the web at KBLA 1580.
That's right.
Again, you can find all of our socials at KBLA 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
By the way, if you miss any of our weekday shows in real time, you can always catch up by checking out the podcast of your favorite shows at your leisure. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Got your black. Follow the leader. Oh my God. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader.
Don't be anxious or confused about AI. Take control of your career when you get the skills to tackle real business problems and design specialized solutions. HR Dive reported that entry-level talent with applied AI credentials can receive up to a 25% salary boost. But where do you find training that you can trust? Future-proof your career and deliver more value with Humans Lead the Way AI. Their hybrid learning courses use practical definitions, real-world examples, and strategic insights to help you and your team understand AI with confidence. No magic, no hacks, no shortcuts. Just practical knowledge that helps you use AI more successfully. Don't wait. AI can never replace people who know how to use it well. Register for courses today at humansleadtheway.com. That's humansleadtheway.com.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where hate loses and love wins.
And love is winning today. Love is winning today through art. Gerri Lawrence, she's the COO of the Community Coalition, is here with me in the studio. Gina Belafonte of sankofa.org is here with us on the phone. And we're talking about who gets to tell the stories, and they're telling stories through a collaboration of sankofa.org and COCO, which is short for Community Coalition. I think it's COCOSouthLA.org if you want to check it out. We the people, which I'm sure it's not a coincidence that it's just in time for America's 250th birthday, or Trump's 250th birthday, which I think was last week. Gina, talk to me a little bit about some of the performance aspects of this, because it's you know we talk about telling stories. Yes, visual arts do that, and this is this huge show, which is I think opening this week?
Thursday,
day after tomorrow. Yes. But there's Gerri mentioned programming, panels, performances. Talk to me about some things, some highlights that we can participate in.
Yes, well, first of all, we have our opening night on the 2nd, which is going to be a big cookout, so people can come on down and join us, and also they can do some art making with us. We've got some poster making. We've got a DJ. We're very, very excited. We're going to have a salsa dance party during the week. Everybody's got to stay tuned to look for our schedule. That'll be on our We the People Instagram and our website. We have great conversations with Hector Flores from Las Cafeteras and Bambi Salcedo, who's head of an incredible organization, Trans Coalition. And we have Patrice Cullors coming through to do a performance in healing. have Cara Mack doing a dance performance. We've got Aloe Black and Iman Jordan doing musical performances. We have conversations around philanthropy with heads of foundations and community activists. We're really, going in and having conversations with people so that we can really hear from the community. The community is welcome to be a part of all of these conversations. We welcome their voice. We welcome their points of view, their interpretations of what they're hearing. And Gerri, tell me, did I leave anything out?
No, that was great.
Oh, we don't have to get it all in at once. I was really kind of looking for some highlights. I can't believe you can find it all at We the People South LA, We the People South LA. Well, you're talking about, it says the intersection of art, memory, and movement. What does that even mean, Gina?
Well, I think, there's so much generational trauma. There's so much unconscious bias. And this exhibit gives us an opportunity to come through and deeply engage with visual art, as well as we're going to be doing some street dance activism. We're going to be moving our bodies so that even there's some somatic healing that will be happening. We've got Walk Good LA coming through with some yoga. So we're also going to move through our bodies some of this ancient trauma that we want to redirect into the story that we want to tell. The story about our folks, not some revisionist history of where we came from and what we did and how we contributed, but really have conversations with each other and also talk about the things that we need to have to shift and that we need to change, find ways in which we can collectively gather to organize around those things and make those shifts and changes and those demands, and then vision for the future. We have a whole virtual reality component for, all ages to come and enjoy, but especially to let the young people know that we have, creators of color that are in these tech spaces, that are taking these tech spaces and making them very, very interesting and creative for people to become developers and entrepreneurs. And so we have something for everyone, and we welcome all ages to come and join us to celebrate our reflection of the 250th anniversary.
I mean, when you talk about the tech space too, that I feel like this is a really dangerous area when it comes to who controls the narrative, because we all spend a lot of time. Most of us, let's say 95% of us, spend a lot of time on whatever our app of choice is. I happen to be on Instagram too much. A lot of people TikTok too much or Facebook too much. But and we may not realize, or maybe we do realize, that no matter how much you think you're curating your timeline, the algorithm controls what you see and what you do not see. Shadow banning turns out to be a real thing. And I remember how shocked I was when I read about how Facebook was experimenting, and I believe Instagram too, if I'm not mistaken, were experimenting with whether they could change people's psychological state by changing what was in their feed. So they did these experiments without telling the users, by the way, where they were flooding the feed with depressing and horrible news to see if it would make the users depressed and, angry. And it does. Surprise, surprise. But, I mean, this was an experiment being done on people without our knowledge or consent, but which to me highlighted the way that not only the technology now is controlling the distribution and the narrative, but also consciously doing it so in ways that manipulate our state of mind.
Yes, that's very accurate. There's a book, and I'm trying to remember the name of it, written by a woman who used to work at Facebook, who kind of like all of a sudden wakes up that it's not like the real wonderful and progressive place she thought it was. And she sort of outs, everyone at Facebook. It's called Careless People. And it really talks about exactly what you were talking about, how they were shifting algorithmic content depending on who you were and what you saw, and tried to bait you to engage, as well as bullying online and all of those things. Very well aware. They are all very well aware of our rhythms and how we move through the world. But nonetheless, we can flip that if we change our own, ways in which we have a relationship to tech.
Yeah, I think that's right, and our knowledge of it. But I'm glad that there's a tech space within this project for that reason. There was an article yesterday about how technicians at Meta were posing as teenagers in order to get data from other apps about how the AI responds to young people. In other words, they would have technicians or bots posing as teenagers and going and interacting with ChatGPT or Claude or whatever in order to get data about how the AI manipulates teenagers. And they were looking at everything from suicide to relationships to views about religion. Again, manipulating the narrative from the standpoint of what's being fed to young people by the artificial intelligence, which is really aggregates of all of our own stories.
Right, and that's why we're so happy to be doing this offering, so that we can be the authors of those stories and we can have a consciousness and an awareness around it. And Community Coalition has such an extensive and well-standing relationship in the community that people are eager to hear what we have to say and actually are engaging with us in a way that's very exciting for them to come forward and share in that narrative.
Yeah, what I would add, thank you, Gina, is I'm a bit of an unusual older millennial in that I'm not very active on social media. What you were saying about the manipulation of emotions, I felt that very keenly early on and have a very strong reaction to being online extensively. That being said, I feel like what Gina has brought to the show around VR, because we're even having debates about how young, children, like what is the age cutoff, what is the material that they're being introduced, and in the VR experience, there's life skills. They're talking about anti-bullying. It's timed, it's targeted, and then there's like an AR experience where you're interacting with the art. So the way that the technology is being utilized in the space is very future focused and framed, but also tailored to be safe. And I think, for someone with my perspectives around how we use social media and technology, I feel good about that offering. I think it's necessary that we don't fully avoid it and we think about, what it looks like and how it can be beneficial.
Yeah, there has to be literacy. There has to be media literacy and social media literacy, because then even if you're you and you don't use it all the time, you can be fooled if we're not aware. And I think, to me, it's not about fear mongering. It's just about awareness. Right. And so I think that is right. That, and it's also interesting to me that according to Pew, at least, your generation, the millennials, you and Miles's generation, read more than anybody else, which is odd because I think the stereotype is all y'all do is scroll, scroll, scroll. But book pages are turning. Anyway, I digress. Gina, talk to me about this, what you're hoping to teach or inspire with this We the People giant exhibit that's opening day after tomorrow in South LA, in terms of how we tell stories. What do you want to teach? What do you want us to, when you talk about media literacy and social media literacy and arts literacy, what do you want to teach or tell or inspire around how we tell our stories and who gets to do so?
Well, in all transparency, as usual, I'm sure I'm going to be walking away the one fully inspired and being taught. And, we have, as Gerri had mentioned, and I would love for her also to speak to this, but we have such a diverse and beautiful exhibit of art. I'm hoping folks get not only inspired by the art that they're seeing, but also by the art that they'll perhaps engage in making. I hope that folks feel proud that, they too have a community that has, as Gerri put it before, high art exhibitions that they feel seen, they feel supported, they feel inspired to take action in their own lives in different ways. You never know who's going to come through when, and what offerings in our programming are going to inspire people to participate. I hope people even dive a little bit into their, I'll call it the uncomfortable zone, doing things that they don't usually do, listening to voices they don't usually listen to expand their own awareness of what is happening in the world and in their communities. And I also hope that they feel the ability to share also their feelings, their thoughts, their contribution. We have a very heavy South LA investment that we're making right now, and we believe very strongly in how important it is. It's important for our communities to feel uplifted and seen and protected and proud. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking that, folks are going to walk away feeling like, that was a really cool, awesome way to spend my afternoon or my evening.
I mean, I've been talking about the BET Awards. It just took place this past weekend, and I know it's mainstream culture, so what? I thought it was dope that folks chased away the white supremacist who was outside, the same guy who said he was going to murder Carmelo Anthony. Nobody beat him up. He tried to say they did. All they did was rip up his signs that said black parents are failures. All they did was, put a cone, those orange street cones, above his head, indicating that he was a dunce. I thought it was a very creative response. He ran away, claiming that black hyenas tried to murder him. But the reason that I bring it up is not only because we pushed back against the white supremacists, but there was so much joy in the BET Awards this year. I felt like people had extra cute dresses, extra good songs, extra great clapbacks. It was like no matter how ugly things get in this America, we are still doing what we've always done, which is making art, being great, being loving and joyful, and creating things. And so I think that, in my opinion, that was, and I was happy to see Congresswoman Kamlager Dove there. I was happy to see the mayor there, to see Councilmember Harris Dawson there, showing up and saying, this is our LA. This is our art. Our art is high, too. Our art is great, too. In fact, it's probably the biggest export that's keeping this country afloat through many hard times. And for me, and, I think you both can speak to this, this is a company town. When you talk about Los Angeles, arts and culture is the biggest job creator, world influence, and connecting the talent, the creativity, the messages, the stories, the methodologies, the modalities of South LA and the so-called hood to the actual industry, right, is also important. It's something that we could all do a better job of. And so I think, this celebration taking place right after the BET Awards, taking place on America's birthday, and reminding America, the world, and the white supremacists that we are exactly who we think we are, is super, super inspiring and important. I don't know if you want to add to that, Gerri.
I need a moment.
Yeah. Well, what about you, Gina? You see what I'm putting down. I know you do.
Yeah. Yes. Absolutely. I think anything that our communities that are marginalized can do to uplift our contribution, that we can reclaim our history, that we can ensure our communities have voice, is what this celebratory, bicentennial or whatever it's called, it is really all about for me. I am not interested in revisionist history. I think it is important for us to, at once and for all and for always, continue to tell the true origin story of this country. And I think that, KBLA, the Community Coalition, is on the front lines of that work every day, working in community to ensure that our Bill of Rights and our Constitution is held up for our communities to live hopefully and happily and with progress and intention. And I think this exhibit is an out-picturing of what our hope for our communities is, and for a reclamation of who we are and how we position ourselves in the story of our 250th anniversary.
We will continue this conversation when we come forward. We got something to talk about, something to celebrate, and a few things for you to do. All that straight ahead, only right here.
More of First Things First with Dominique DePrima when we come forward. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. 10 Toes In serves as a mentorship and domestic violence prevention program. They support, educate, and empower couples during and after incarceration. They assist male returning citizens to re-enter society successfully and to help them maintain a healthy relationship with their romantic partner. They offer a mentorship support group for formerly incarcerated men. 10 Toes In teaches its Intimate Relationships 101 curriculum at male prisons throughout the state of California. They host sister support group meetings for women who are intimately involved with incarcerated and formerly incarcerated men. 10 Toes In is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. To access their services or make a donation, please visit them online at 10toesin.org or find them on Facebook or Instagram. They are healing lives through relationships. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
My mom has decided to learn to paint, and she's good.
My dad's now into creative cuisine, and I've already put on 6 pounds. Learning new things comes with age.
My mom, she started forgetting my name and what we're talking about.
Forgetting well-known things doesn't. Memory loss may be a sign of Alzheimer's disease. Early detection gives you and your loved one time to plan for the future. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
See website for details. MyFastCash.com is not a lender and does not make credit decisions. Must be 18 years old. Not available in all states.
The mechanic called. The repair's going to be $750.
Oh, we got rent and the car payment, on top of groceries, gas, and other bills. We don't have an extra $750 right now.
We could try MyFastCash.com. When short on expenses, you can go to MyFastCash.com and could get money as soon as the next day.
MyFastCash.com?
Yes, they can connect you to one of the largest lender networks, and you can get a loan even with bad credit. We could be approved for up to $5,000 fast.
$5,000? That must be a long process.
Nope, approval can happen in just a few minutes right from your phone, and funds could hit our account by tomorrow.
If you have a regular source of income and a bank account, you could be approved for up to $5,000, even with bad credit history. And the cash can hit your bank account the next day.
Honey, I'm going to myfastcash.com right now.
Thank goodness.
If you need extra cash, go to myfastcash.com. That's myfastcash.com. myfastcash.com.
Loan availability, approval, and funding times vary. Terms apply.
The conversation continues right now with Dominique DePrima on First Things First.
And we just have a couple minutes here, even less than that. Man, time flies when you're on the radio. Gina Belafonte, Gerri Lawrence of Community Coalition is here. Gerri, what do you want to leave us with? Remind us how we can be part of this celebration, if you will, We the People, Community Coalition, and Sankofa.org.
Yes, I'll just reiterate that it opens to the public, launching with the People's Cookout, Thursday, 6 p.m., doors open. That'll run through July 19th, that it's a multidisciplinary, dynamic experience open to all ages, all walks of life, and that it's really centered on belonging, that there will be opportunities to learn about different issues from what's happening with voting rights and to talking about the Altadena fires and the impact that that's had, displacement issues. We also have part of the exhibit that's focused on a poll that was issued to South LA residents. Over 1,600 folks weighed in on issues most impacting the community. So we just want to make sure that we're also delivering information and having conversations around some of the really critical issues impacting the community, along with the arts. But it's primarily really anchored in joy. It's not a celebration of the 250, it's a celebration of us. We were here long before that and are still here. And so, yeah, that's what I would offer.
Is it free?
It's free.
Okay.
It's free.
It's at LADC Studios, 5955 Southwestern in South LA. Gina Belafonte, this is your baby too. What would you leave us with about We the People?
Well, you know what I'll say is, as I was listening to your promo, I heard about 10 Toes In, great organization. But one of the things that I want to pull forward, for example, in our installation is that our whole VR section is being led by Made New Foundation, which is an organization that is run by formerly incarcerated who have come into the digital space and have created this content that we are going to be able to enjoy and engage in. And that is just the kind of spirit and the kind of contribution that we have folks participating in this exhibit. So I hope everybody comes down. Again, it's 5955 South Western Boulevard. It opens July 2nd, runs through the 19th. It's free to the public. We have programming from Thursday through Sunday, and we hope everybody comes and celebrates with us, celebrates who we are and ourselves.
Absolutely. Gina Belafonte and Gerri Lawrence, thank you so very much. Tavis Smiley is up next. He's got a fully packed show for you today. As usual, it'll be a great one. You don't want to miss that. You can tap in with me on social media. I'm at Diprima Radio, Diprima, and then radio. We are at KBLA 1580 everywhere. She's at Cocoa South LA, and you can find Sankofa.org at Sankofa.org. Like my papa, the late great Amiri Baraka, used to say, a woman is either free or they are not free. There can be no apprenticeship for freedom. Until tomorrow, my KBLA delegation, one love.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Misty Jordan with BIN News Now. As wildfires continue to burn across Colorado, the American Red Cross is stepping in to help residents who may need to evacuate at a moment's notice. Red Cross spokesperson John Seward urges people to have a plan.
Anything you need to be away from your home for 3 to 5 days. That's clothes, that's food, that's the computer, that's the phone charger.
Seward also says people should remember the P's: people, pets, prescriptions, and papers. Hotel occupancy numbers during the World Cup are a little